Now we're recording. Okay, so given that this is a spontaneous phone call, I am not even sure how I would open up this episode. And this is episode 7. So for those of you who are joining in, hi, I am Stella Musqua. I am the host and owner of the Indigenous Central podcast. And tonight I have my beautiful aunt Laurel Sapp joining me, and we're just going to gossip. We're just going to let our mouths wander off. I don't know what you would say. How do you introduce this, sort of dynamic? This is a spontaneous phone call. This is a last minute phone call. And as this will be titled, episode 7 is going to be titled A Spontaneous Phone Call with Laurel Sapp. So there you go.
Yes. And am I live?
Yes.
Okay. Well, can I start off with today is National Truth and Reconciliation Day. And it can be it was a very emotional and very trying time for today for all across Indian country. What I'd like to say is much love and respect to you, Stella, and to all that are listening on this podcast, and much love. And my heart goes out to everyone that are listening, that went through today. I actually was listening to a couple of the elders, and it reminded me of a lot of things that we had gone through. But in this case tonight, I wanted to say to all our brothers and sisters, to all our relations across Indian country, my respect and my love and my prayers are to you all. And for my grandson that's listening at home, maybe I hope he's listening, and to my family, I love you guys. Went through a hard time this last couple of months, and just want to say I love you. I'm proud of you all. I'm proud of all who you stand for and what you stand for, where we come from, and that we never forget, our loved ones and our ancestors. So with that, Stella, that's what I'd like to say. That was very, very heavy, not heavy, but it was throughout the whole day from the moment I woke up this morning. So, and it is still, there's actually, I'm missing out on a movie tonight. So I'm very grateful to be here with you, Stella. And I know it's common, I don't even know what the heck I'm talking about. I don't know when I'm saying common, but I'm just grateful to be here. Thank you for the opportunity once again. And I'm coming onto this podcast as myself, because last time I came as a musician, and
yes,
where I came from, I'm coming as a daughter. I'm coming as a mother, as a grandmother, as an auntie, as a sister, as a cousin, as a friend. And that's who I come. I'm coming here as a community member, and it'll be truthful. It will be all about, it's about me. It's about real and raw. But Stella, thank you for allowing me to be here. You're amazing. How was your day today? Let's start off with that. How did you celebrate, or not celebrate, how did you honor today? Celebrate our uniqueness in our heritage as Cree, as Dene, as Métis, as Inuit. There's as Lakota and Dakota. There are all nations all across this country and the world. And I just want to know how was your day?
Well, thank you for asking, Aunt Laurel. I will say my day started off with this phone call. Last night was spent until 6 a.m. today just watching TV, watching endless movies, basically doom scrolling on my laptop. I wasn't really doing anything productive. And so my day started with the phone call that I had prior to this episode 7. And my part in honoring today, my part in honoring both the past, the present, and for honoring the future ahead of us is participating in episode 7 and being joined by yourself on as a guest speaker.
Mm, mm, that's fantastic. And I must say, Stella, that you are, as an Indigenous woman and as a daughter, and also as a business owner, as well as a podcast speaker, you are getting into something that's new for yourself. And I know it is tough sometimes, to start off something new, but I commend you on your journey. I commend you on your, starting, not being afraid to go ahead and go for it. And a lot of times, from I know when I was younger, around your age, I'm like, I'm 55, and I was your age. I was scared. I was scared to do anything that was even made me feel nervous. I felt like I wasn't good enough, and those were some of the things that I had dealt with. So for me to see you and our young people out there, doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, I see such a momentum of prosperity in terms of their willingness and their motivation and the dream seekers, the go-getters, the ones that just do it. I commend you all, and it's good to see. It's good to see that today. And I seen that today throughout North Battleford, where I'm actually right as I speak. I'm in front of Tim Hortons in North Battleford, and I witnessed, from babies. I met the pair of twins, Shonda, my good friend Shonda Wahoban, I met her at Agravilla here in North Battleford, where where BATC was doing the, National Truth and Reconciliation activities for the day. So I got to see two twins, set of twins, and it was so beautiful, from the smallest to the oldest, and watching our elders share their stories. It was profoundly, it impacted me. That I looked right beside me was my grandson, both wearing the same shirts. The shirt that I'm wearing today, even as we speak, it's a Little Pine Delma's Walk. It's recognizing the ancestors and those that have survived and those that did not come home. That was profoundly emotional. So for me to see you and a lot of people, I wish I could just give all high fives to everybody, but I'm so busy. I don't even have time to clean my house. You don't. I'm just like,
I know.
as we speak, my brother's on his way to my farm. I'm thinking, oh my God, he's gonna see the mess that, he's gonna see the mess that it's so cluttered, and I haven't had time to even sit down and relax, and I don't even think I watched half a movie yet. I haven't watched a full movie yet, so it's as a cookum and as a sister and as a human being, there is not enough time in a day for me to even start anything. And I really need time. I really need to spend time at home and just clean. That's what I feel like. But going back on track, I tend to do that, get off track. But I commend all you guys. I commend the ladies. I commend the men. I commend the elders, that are actually doing amazing things. Did you see beating? Like, if you look at the arts and the creativity of skills, you know, the passions, oh gosh, I could name everything. Music. We have a
Mhm,
lot more musicians. We have a lot more artists. We have painters. We have sculptors. We have this wide array of creative masters, I like to call them, because that's everyone's a master.
mhm.
You don't need a degree to follow your passion. I always say that you don't need a degree, but you definitely, if you have that passion, go for it. And I commend that. I commend it. I support it 100%. Let's not 100%, 150%, because we need to support one another. We need to
Yes.
do as much as we can. And as an Aboriginal woman who is from Little Pine First Nations. I was born and raised in Sweetgrass. That's always my home.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm registered Little Pine, and I began to see the community, the people that make up the community, and it's I just can't get enough. I thrive on meeting new people. I thrive on sitting down and actually talking to our elders, talking to the young mothers, and it's mind boggling at times because I it opens my eyes so much and this is probably what you don't know, Stella. I'm a 60 scoop survivor. I was scooped
Mm-hmm.
from a very young age, and I was raised in a Ukrainian home, and a lot of us siblings were raised in other homes, so we were separated. And through the Indian residential school that my late mother was a survivor of that. If it weren't for her fighting and surviving through that, we would not be here today. So I totally give honor and I pray and give gratitude, because if it weren't for them, our ancestors that fought, we wouldn't be here. And that is such a pivotal moment for me that I really reflect on lately. The last couple of weeks, I've been reflecting on that, and I look at everything. My eyes are more aware, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for you, like, you're doing this podcast, it's amazing. Like, you're a go-getter, Stella. Like, you're amazing, and I commend you on everything that you do, and don't ever give up. As a cook, I'm just saying, don't ever give up. Keep striving. We're gonna have those obstacles in our way sometimes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And keep pushing through it. Keep pushing through it. That's what I call lessons. They're lessons in life, and we need those lessons in order to grow. And
Yes,
for
we do.
me, you do. And we're not going to always have you know, the really happy days and whatnot. There's going to be some sad days. There's going to be some days where we're not going to have what we want, right? So I really stress that keep moving forward, breathe, take some time for yourself, and I definitely need some time for myself to clean my house. That's my biggest Stella. Cleaning my house and organizing my house is my biggest goal at the moment.
Yes.
And meanwhile, I'm sitting in front of Tim Hortons, and people are wondering, what the heck is that woman doing there? You're just talking to him, you know. You think I'm talking to myself, but I'm not. I'm talking into a phone. But but hey, I'm gonna stop babbling, and I'm gonna Stella, as an Indigenous woman and an Indigenous business owner, and as well as a podcaster, having your own podcast.
Mm-hmm.
What is it that you want to achieve, that you would like to see? What is your plan that you would like to see for your podcast in 1 year's time?
Oh, in 1 year's time, I'm not sure about 1 year's time, but throughout my entire lifespan, I'm hoping and crossing my fingers that my podcast will be a long running series, a long running show, similar to how Law and Order is like on their 25th or 27th season. And there's Heartland, which is a Canadian TV show. For those of you who have not heard of Heartland, it's filmed primarily within the Alberta province, but that's my hope, not necessarily within 1 year or within 2 years or 5 years, but within my lifetime and within my journey within the longevity of being an entrepreneur and a businesswoman and being an Indigenous leader and a young fellow Indigenous woman. That's what I'd love to see this podcast flourish into, is a long running 20, 30 seasons podcast, and branching off into various subjects. Say after 5 years or 5 or 7 seasons, we sort of lean away from having guest stars who are Indigenous professionals and maybe leading into Indigenous students who are currently enrolled in post secondary or have completed high school and are thinking of it, going to guest spotting Indigenous elders, retired Indigenous professionals, and how their life is in retirement, both pre and post uh, retirement. And yeah, that's my longevity goal for the podcast.
Wow, that is amazing. And I can see this podcast with the amount of guests that you have on your podcast. Like you look back in a year's time where you say, hey, look who I had. The very first and we were how many problems we had with the podcast with the it was mostly the connection issue, right? With the and of
Yes.
course I live on a farm and you were at the I believe you were at the cafe. So you
Yes,
were
I was.
doing what you could and was lagging, the internet was lagging. Of course, me at the farm, I'm like, well, it was also lagging too, because the internet at the farm was just no darn good, right? So
Yes.
I had to use my own my own I guess my cell service. Just use that for so those are some of the things that often we don't think about. We just go and do it. But stretching forward, moving forward to a year's time, like you're gonna look back, girl, and you are gonna see how far you've come from the very first of the nervous podcast, you communicating, giggling, we all get that nervous tick, right? I know I do. And for myself, I probably I've had experience being online. I've been on several interviews now. And if just can I just say something?
Yes.
Chris, Tomei, if you're out there, big love to you, buddy. Chris is a major talk show host. He does so many across I believe 22 countries. I think that's what I've seen. He does major exposure on the teams. He does major exposure on I believe I was the first Indigenous woman that he did the interview on.
Mhm.
So that was really that was actually nerve-wracking for me. I didn't know what to expect, but big salute and hi to Chris. Chris really pushed my music out there, and I'm very grateful for that because it really gave me, I believe, in the last month for Facebook. And I'm just saying this because you have no idea until you do it, right? How
Right.
the impact that you have on others and how much it can really push for the people that it really gets them out there. And I'm really grateful for Chris because last month um my views on Facebook were in excess of 68,000 views on Facebook on my profile alone, on my videos, throughout my videos. And that to me is such a huge jump. This month alone, it's over 112,000 so far for September. So it is through the podcast. It is through and, you don't know, right? People say, "Wow, you can't." Well, yes, your YouTube, the views, the TikTok, the Instagram, Google Chat. You have these live performances, these live podcasts. They really do make a difference. And through social media, sometimes that's what all we have, right? Sometimes I'm at home and I want to find out if I could maybe go join a podcast that talks about addictions or talks about mental health. You can search that up and I can guarantee you there's a live one. So what you do in this podcast for those that are just coming on, search Stella. Stella is amazing. She is her first timer. She has a great communication style, and I know she's pretty serious. It's usually pretty serious, but guess what, you guys? I'm getting her to smile and laugh a bit, right? I said, don't be so serious. These are our people. We giggle quite a bit.
Yes, we do.
But a much salute to you, girl. You have an impeccable communication style that I admire. And for me, I'm like I said, I'm just grateful just to be here. Like I'm sitting in Tim Hortons again. Still, I'm
Hmm.
still here, and it's raining. It's actually raining. I don't know where it is in Lloydminster where you're at, but it's raining over here. And there's a couple of strikes of lightning around me, so it's quite beautiful. Quite beautiful.
Yes, I can imagine. I'm a fan of rainy days because for me, if I were to be asked from, a stranger, or if I were to be asked from a fairly new acquaintance, or just from someone who I'm not on a level of communication, of um, gradual and regular communication, if they were to ask me, what is it I love about rainy days? And honestly, I have not even found the answer for myself. I myself have asked that question of what it is I love about rainy days, and I cannot come up with a specific answer or with a satisfactory answer. All I can say is I enjoy rainy days. I enjoy the feel of the rain, and especially the smell of the air and the grass, and just, it's in a way it's mother earth's way of pausing for a moment the day-to-day smell, the smog and the diesel and the gas uh, exhaust smoke that we smell every day being in a city, or the rural smells out in the countryside. In a way, it's mother earth's way of cleansing and readjusting the air quality and the smell and the beautiful sweet smell of the dew on the grass, and the clean air, and just everything that we take for granted. And that's what I enjoy most about rainy days.
Oh, that is beautiful. You know what I love about rainy days?
Mm,
I love the rainy days because it really, really, really smells. Hold on. Can you hold on for a second?
yes. Yeah.
Oh my God, I am so sorry about that. Okay, I'm shutting that off. Sorry, I didn't know that ended my phone call. I am so
Oh,
sorry.
wow.
My brother got lost. He's lost. So he's on his way to the farm. But
Okay.
actually I probably can just oh no, I can't leave. I have to wait for my I was just gonna leave Tim Hortons. I thought, oh, I'll talk on the way home. I gotta wait for my equipment, my sound equipment. But the sound of rain, I love rain. I love how it smells. And honestly, when it is really healing. You know, Mother Nature is healing. I live on a
Mhm.
farm, and ever since I moved out there in 2009, May to 2009, I fell in love with the openness of nature. I fell in love with the surrounding fields. Fell in love with the smells. You know, I get up in the morning, I go outside. First thing I do, I grab my cup of coffee and I go and stand out there and I oh my God, you see the sunrise, you see the sunset. It's like you have a different perception than when I was in town. I noticed that about myself. And it was for me, Mother Nature was healing for me, especially when you gone through loss. It was very healing for me. I needed that. And just going out and, I usually like just yesterday I was using the drone, right? Yesterday I was just picking rocks. I was actually looking for quartz. I'm collecting quartz rocks to make kind of like a fairy garden, with a little bit of fountain and whatnot. And so I've been collecting for the last couple of years. I started 2 years ago, and this is my second year where it gave me peace. It actually helped me think about, my inner thoughts. What is it that I'm going through, right? And I didn't most times I would think about, hey, you remember that book, that poem that you're writing? You were going to attach a picture to it. I would do things like that, or I'd think about Ah, man, I'm really grateful for today. I got to see a couple of deer, jumping across our field, or a buck or a moose. The geese right now are amazing. Like, there's thousands and thousands are flocking to our area, and it's in the arm of Douglas, where the arm of Douglas is actually just full of birds, full of everything, and it's gorgeous. And I just sit there and I'm in awe. That is my medicine. Mother Nature is my medicine. I put down our tobacco down. I go pick our medicines, and I'm really deep in prayer. I give gratitude, and I realize that that's a responsibility we all need to have, is to have that respect. And for me, I never had that before. I've never had that connection to Mother Earth. I never had that connection to picking medicines. I didn't know how, because I was raised in the Six Cube. I was raised in the Ukrainian home. I had no clue how to do those things. So when I came home, when I was 16 years old, I came home and I started learning about what it was to be an Indigenous woman as a daughter. And I started learning, I started paying attention. And then I moved back to the city, come back. But for me, Mother Nature, along with the rain, the snow, you know, I feel reborn in a sense, where I feel that. I feel like I'm reborn every day, because sometimes we do not get that chance to do the things that we want to do. There's always a circumstance or whatnot. And I really do truly believe in that we need to live our life to the fullest every day. Tomorrow's never promised. Yesterday's done. You can't do nothing about it. We only have today. And I think Mother Nature really, really is a place where I think we need to connect more to. And for you talking about rain, it's raining right now. Look at that. Isn't that ironic? And I can smell it. I should open my window. Just probably can't hear it, but question. Here's some. Okay, I know I tend to go off on a tangent, right? I could talk all night, Stella. I'll tell you that already. It
Mhm.
is for you. What was the hardest? I guess, well, not hardest, but what is some of the blessings you've had growing up in as an Indigenous woman, as an Indigenous child? Like, what are some of the things that you can share that we'd like to know about you?
Uh, yes. So, first off, I want to say on that note, for a time, I was blinded. I wasn't physically or legally or literally blinded, but I was blinded in my own way. There were many times where I was lacking in gratitude for the blessings of growing up as an Indigenous woman. Given the challenges that I faced, whether that was in middle school and high school, whether that was outside school, that was in certain groups, in certain subgroups, in certain communities, within certain teams. But thinking about blessings, I'm grateful that I am sitting on a very comfortable chair as of right now. I'm not sitting on a hard chair, given that my comfort is something that I don't take for granted. That's something that I cherish and that I find precious, is being comfortable, especially within the clothes I wear, and especially with the body image, and how I carry myself, how I speak, how I communicate, how I dress, how I behave, certain mannerisms, uh, how I walk, and how I interact with people. I don't want to take that for granted. I don't want that to just be left in the dust, or to be left on a shelf, or to be faltering. That is something that I cherish. That's something that I will always want. Some part of me will always want to improve on that, and to enhance that, to refine that. uh as I've said, being comfortable with my body image, being comfortable with the weight and the height, being comfortable with having large size 9 feet, which I've inherited from my grandfather. Thank you, grandfather. But at times there are challenges because not many women, it's not a very common shoe size. I've been very lucky for majority of the times that I've gone shoe shopping. I've been able to find a size 9 shoe, but the other times that I was not so lucky to find a size 9 shoe, it it did take a jab to my self-esteem. I would often question, especially as a young kid, I'd question, why did I have to end up with big feet? But I too go on a tangent and do veer off topic, but drawing a parallel to that, just being comfortable. That's one of the blessings that I am leaning into, and that I am going all into exploring and to finding out, what is it I'm grateful for? What is it that I love about myself? What is it that I appreciate about myself? For me as an Indigenous woman, it's just learning to love myself, to throw away the towel on self-pity, and to bring in the towel on self-love and self-confidence and self-reassurance and self-confidence and self appreciation, to self, just myself, just relaxing and not giving a damn or what anybody else has to say. If they don't like my hair color, my haircut, I don't care. I chose to color my hair, or I chose to have a particular haircut, hairstyle. So really just focusing on myself and loving myself and finding what it is that I appreciate myself, especially as an Indigenous woman who happens to be pale skinned, but Indigenous to through the blood and the heart.
Mm-hmm. That is, thank you for it is, thank you so much for your input, Stella. And we need to hear more of our youth. We need to hear more of our young adult. I mean, there's a lot of I know for me, for my being the oldest in our family, there's a lot of those old values still, and sometimes I need to just listen to the young people. I look at my grandson, he's going to be 12 in a couple of weeks, and I listen to him, and he's quite the individual. He has so much input. He has such an insight that I don't have when I was back then, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we need that fresh perspective. We need to know what you guys think. What do you see for our future? I asked my grandson, here's this is kind of funny. I said, when I get to be about 65, 70 years old, what are you gonna do with me? I'm gonna get you your own room.
Whoa, brother.
I was like, and then what? I'm gonna hire a nurse to take care of you because I'll be busy. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. I said, well, then I said, you're not gonna put me in a home? He goes, no, because I can't talk to my grandma in the home. He goes, I need to talk to her all the time. So I'm gonna be yelling across the house, calling her. And I was like, aw, that's such a sweet little response, like those kind of things. And I see him being amazing at what he does. He's learning so much. We're both learning. We're both healing. We're both working through our grief. We're both working towards his goals. His goals in soccer. He's an amazing soccer player, and he's learning music. He's got a guitar. I mean, or like again, I told Aiden, I said one thing that we need to do more of is spend time with family, and that is really, really important for us.
Yes.
As an Indigenous family, especially today. I wish I could be there with my brother and my family, and I'm missing out on that. However, this is also important as well because it's National Truth and Reconciliation Day. It is a
Yes.
very, very, very important day for all of us. And
Mm-hmm.
Hearing the stories today was very emotional, but also we need to hear those so we never forget. We never
Yes.
forget who we are, where we come from, what our ancestors fought, and those who did not come home. Those are the ones that I think about. I wished I could be at Delma's today, you know, at the where the old residential school was. It burnt down to the ground. There's a story up there. If they ever want to look that up, I really, really recommend those that are listening to the podcast, look up Janelle P. Wapskunyas and Sonia Pete. You just have
Mhm.
to look on Facebook. You will see the work that those girls put in to make for the last 4 years is amazing. And what they did for not only Little Pine, but for Palmmaker, for Sweetgrass, for all of us. It was a very moving experience because we are the survivors of, the of the ancestors. We are the ones that they fought so hard, and that's because of the reason why we're here. And the walk that we went through last year, you just have to go check them. And I always say this all the time: if you don't know, ask. And actually, Janelle is the one that's the one I'm meeting right now, waiting for her to. I lent them the sound equipment, the speakers and the mic and the mixer, so that they could hear and they could talk and the elders can hear. You can hear them loud. You can play the music or whatnot. And I did that as an in-kind contribution because my family was part of that. Our ancestors were part of that school. And
Yes.
those, one particular that I just mentioned to my brother just earlier today, I said, I'd like to take a trip out there and just visit the grave of our Musham, which is our late grandmother, Harriet Atcham, brother. His name was Henry Atcham, who never had no children. He didn't get a chance to grow up to be
Hmm.
a husband, to have a wife, to have children, to have grandchildren, have great grandchildren. Those are the realities of the IRS. That is the realities of Indian residential school. That is the era that we had come from
Yes.
and that we cannot forget. So that was really, really strong for me. Coming home from Delma's and went and did a sound check over there to make sure everything was okay. And I talked to a few elders and we spoke of that we never forget. Let's not forget. Let's keep sharing. Let's keep talking. Let's keep healing. Let's keep hugging. Let's keep communicating. Let's not stop that communication. Let's keep it open. That is the only way that we can move forward and heal from it and go to our ceremonies, go to our round dances, our powwows, you know, reintroduce ourselves for those that are coming home. I was one of those children that I came home and I did not know anything. And I still don't know anything. I am still learning. I'm still becoming me. You know, part of me is gone. You know, when for those that know my story, I lost my entire family. I lost my children, all my three children. I lost their dad. I buried my husband and I buried their father. I buried two grandchildren. That is a whole that's that's seven of my immediate family that is gone. That is a legacy, a generation that is gone that I can't get back. That won't grow from there, right? And I am very grateful to have my grandson. I have a granddaughter out there who turned 15. I have not seen her in 15 years. And one day I hope I get to see her. And when it's through truth and reconciliation that we learn to move forward, we learn to forgive, we learn, we need to heal from those wounds. And for me, that is something that I hold on very dearly is to my family. Family is very important to me. My grandson is someone that I love very dearly, and that's my family. But I also have my brothers, I have my sisters, I have my aunties, my uncles. I'm gonna go visiting. And I really did stay true to that, because how am I going to learn and teach my grandson if I don't do it myself? So I got to be that example. I have to lead by example and be truthful in everything that I do. And that is sometimes just sitting down, shutting up and listening. There's the truth in that,
Yes.
you know. It is something. I don't just wonder if that's the lady. Hold on. Janelle! Show there, she's right there. I didn't even know she was right there. Hold on. Keep talking. Do you have anything that you can offer us, people that are a little bit older?
Ah, a little bit older.
Yes. Yes. Well, actually, how about this?
Okay.
Can I interrupt you? While
Yeah.
I'm going to interrupt you for a second, and I want you. Remember, I just mentioned about Janelle and what the Delma's Indian Residential School about today. I have her here, so I really want her to tell her what she saw in the last couple of years. And Janelle, I'll do that if you want to talk for a little bit. This is
Oh,
Stella
hi.
Bear. She has a
Hi.
podcast and a National Indigenous Day today. So I've been on in there. How long have we been on here for? 50 minutes. But I was
30
talking about you
minutes.
both today. 30 minutes. So
A
today,
century.
century. But Janelle, if you guys are just tuning in, I did speak about Janelle. If you want to talk, look her up also with Sonia. But this is something about national truth and also with you. Come on. Okay, here you go. Oh, this is live. So I know, right? You know how I am. So I have to take all. You just do that.
Hi, Stella.
Oh, hi.
Okay.
I'm not sure what you look like, but
Okay.
hi. Thank you for joining in.
Yeah, thank you so much. And that's so interesting that she gave me the space for this. So I really appreciate the quick note. So let me just tell you a bit about our group. We are the Delmos Walk Honoring Our Ancestors group, or the Little Pine Residential School Survivors group. So they're both long names. We've been
Yes.
around since 2021. The summer that we found out there was 215 unmarked graves in Kamloops, we thought it was important for us to also respond with some action to get out there to honor our ancestors, because we do have survivors who actually went to the school when, and we actually had a student with us who was there when it burnt down, and he actually knows who burnt it down. So we
Oh,
have
wow.
living history within our community, and we wanted to tap into that to be able to come together to honor those people, to honor the children who never made it home, and to come together and connect again, because we're very fractured, and sometimes some of us are hurting, and remembering and recognizing all of our families, all of our struggles, and all the strong that made it through was really important. So it was really nice to have it happen the first year, and we made it a 4-year commitment, and now it's the 5th year we've come back again to the site to recognize our volunteers, our hundreds of walkers that come throughout the years, our amazing partners and sponsors, and then of course Donna McBain and Doug, who are settlers in Delma, Saskatchewan, who own the land that this former residential school site was on. So it's all good relationships and all coming together, and really trying to make a difference for ourselves. And it's been a really wonderful experience.
Well, thank you for joining for the brief time, and I hope I can keep you on a little bit longer so that I can ask a couple of questions and carry on the conversation a little bit longer. This is episode 7. Thank you, Janelle, for joining in for episode 7 of the Indigenous Central podcast. This is as titled, then will be titled when it's aired tonight at 10 p.m. A spontaneous phone call. So the more the merrier, and the more spontaneous it becomes, the more interesting it. And I feel that it will invite more listeners and invite more viewers, given the spontaneity of the phone call.
Yeah, well, I think I'd have time for one question if you had anything on the top of your mind.
Yes, not at the top of my mind or at the tip of my tongue, but I'm sure I could, come up with a question. But that being said, I commemorate what you're doing for the Little Pine Walk of Remembrance, Del Moss Walk of Remembrance.
Yeah.
I will say this. I have not openly stated my reaction at the time. I think it was in 2018 or 2019, or it was pre-COVID era, when all of us across the world, across the country, we heard over social media and over various communication broadcasting media of the children that were in mass graves, and how the numbers kept escalating and increasing. And my first reaction was, as it is right now, the same reaction is fighting back tears.
Yeah.
That was disheartening, and that for sure, it was a large pit in my gut, finding out that our children not only went through the torture, the physical and the emotional trauma that they did in those schools, but also that their bodies, their corpses, were just discarded so heinously.
Yes.
It was gut-wrenching. And on that note, the question finally came to my mind. So my question is, what was your reaction? Where were you during that broadcasting, during the broadcasting of the news of the mass graves and the escalation in the numbers?
Okay. So, like, emotionally, it was a bit, well, on one hand, it was a bit of a shock, because then it's like an official number set. They had, technology and the use of other tools to be able to find these sites, and to approximate about how many were there was shocking. It's disturbing. So that's my son's whole school, and that's terrible. So it was a shock in that way, and then at the same time, where it was validating in the way that I've always heard that there were children who went missing, who didn't make it home. It's not just an analogy. It's a literally like one student a year or something like that. I can't even give you the exact numbers, but it's no student should go missing or unalived when they go to school. There should not be graves in a schoolyard, So it was quite shocking and sad and terrible, but also validating in some regards, because that's a lot of people.
Yes.
That's a lot of people. And also, it was in some ways it was enraging as you're learning about history, as you're coming to find that it's unfair for certain groups and it's easier for others. Those are real emotions, and it's kind of like, on the flip side of it, like recognizing all that we're all going through together as student survivors, intergenerations of that. So it was like a moment of clarity and hurt and strength, but the resolve to do something, because that we can't just let our angry feelings or sad feelings stay. We need to be recognized. And Kamloops is so far away, and I'm sure there was somebody from our territory who went out to that school. But from my community, my family, and neighboring communities, there are several. There are many, and we're so lucky that those ones who made it home actually got to make it home, because not everybody did. So yeah, it was troubling for sure. Yeah, very beginning there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so it wasn't originated by me. I give props to Sonia Pete and Amanda Bull, who had the wherewithal and the heart to start something in the community. And I just came on, I was new to moving back home, and I was looking for a way to connect to my peers, my cousins, people that I know, and they put the walk together, that following fall. It was quite choppy. It was hard. We did not know what we were in for. We were on the walk for like 12 hours or something like that, because we just didn't quite know how to do it. But it was good in the way that it was recognizing, and it brought a lot of people together. Yeah, each year, and it kept growing. So it's good things can come from heart. But we stuck to the positives, to the constructive things, and also just recognizing where we're all at. It's not fair, but we have each other. And so that was one of the messages that we delivered today in our 5th year, just to recognize our volunteers, because we might have put some stuff together to organize and got them funding, but it was the community. It's the Kukums who walked 40 kilometers. That was so impressive. And all those people that came out throughout the years. So I find that the positive that's come from it. But we don't forget. We remember. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There was a bit of technical difficulty in the first 20 seconds of your response.
Okay.
If you can, could you, answer that again of what your reaction was and where you were at the time of the broadcasting of Kamloops, BC?
Sure. So I can't remember exactly where I was, but overall, like emotionally, it was a bit of a shock, because you hear 215 kids. That's more than my son's school put together. That's a whole bunch of kids throughout decades that happened to. So it was a bit of a shock. It was overwhelmingly sad. And it was also a bit of like, I don't want to say, like, it was a confirmation of what we knew too, from stories that I've heard, that kids didn't always make it home. There's all these terrible things and all that. So it was validating in one small sense, but in the larger sense, it was like a sad grief and a call to action for those of us who could try do something about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
During your answer that you were given, I still am trying not to cry. I'm fighting back tears, because I do agree with you. It was gut wrenching.
Yeah.
Finding out the news, especially pre-COVID era, and in the beginning years, 2020 and 2021, where we're all just at home, sitting around and on our phones doom scrolling, and then as you're relaxing and as you're just sort of lounging in your room, to have that news feed come across your phone, it in a play, how do I explain it, in a way, and in a place, in some form, you're just you're just relaxing, and you're vulnerable because you're just sitting there on your bed and you're doom scrolling. So it's just, another day of whatever, just another day of just being there and doing nothing, not being overly excited, not being overly stressed, just, being comfortable with your feelings and just lying on your bed. And then, in a split second, that's turned upside down as you read the reports and the news and the videos and the testimonies. And it's just a whole wave of strong emotional knockout.
Yeah. Yeah. For those of us who have a heart, empathy, it is quite shocking and harmful. Like, it's even, you don't even have to know them. You don't even have to know them and know that it's a tragedy. So I feel you there. It's tough.
Yes.
Tough. Yes.
Well, thank you for joining our spontaneous phone call. I better let you go.
Yes, thank you, Stella.
It sounds like, thank you. It sounds like you don't have much time to join us this evening, but thank you for your honest candor, and thank you for sharing your journey, and for providing us with your presence. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Stella.
Thank you, Stella. Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay. Stella,
Yeah.
that is that's what you call real and raw
Yes.
and truth, and that's right from the heart. That's right from the heart. They're the one of the organizers that helped with the Delmas um, bringing the ancestors to say enough that we're still we're still finding out. We're still um,
Mm-hmm.
from me as a daughter who, we lost our matron. She had a lot of stories. She had a lot of experience that she shared with us kids. They're very, they were very small. She didn't want to linger on them, and oftentimes it can take you. It makes you angry. I could tell firsthand that I was angry, and that's common. That is a common response,
Yes, it is.
and I had to work through that through my own way by getting to know, talking with the elders, talking with other women, other counselors, just to get through that because it was, and for me, where I learned it from?
Mm.
I learned it in a university class in 1999, 1998, 99, around there in Saskatoon. And I literally was actually this is an experience that I'll share with you because it is very important in terms of today, especially today. Like, and you just heard um, Janelle's Janelle's testimony, her thoughts, and her experiences of the last couple of years, right? Since finding out about the children. I was sitting in a classroom. I was in university, and while I was in the university class, there's this man. And for the life of me, I can't remember his name, but he was one of the forefathers of the National Indian Brotherhood. He was teaching us that day. He was a speaker, and he spoke very, very, very passionately and honestly about those times, those dark times in our history, right? It's part of our history, and that Canada did not want to acknowledge at that time. And when you're a Native Indigenous student that's in a classroom and finding out about all of this, it was eye opener because I didn't know, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know, and I was shocked, and I actually phoned my mother, and you know, and I asked mom, I said, "What's this all about?" And she told me. That was the first time she told me. That was in 1998, and I was just flabbergasted. I said, how come we didn't know? Weren't we taught this in the schools instead of the history that was given to us back then? It was an eye opener. It was a shocking. I just couldn't believe it. And one of the things that I fondly remember about the speaker, that one of the forefathers of the National Indian Brotherhood, I can't remember his name. Sorry, I forget. My memory doesn't serve me well lately. But he said, and I'll always quote on this. He said, "We cannot forget where we came from, what we went through, but we can move forward by remembering that we acknowledge the dark past, that we acknowledge that we are still here." And I will always remember that, because it really, what it did for me from that time forward is that I literally started trying more, because I felt I was an Indigenous student in a university with mostly non-Indigenous students in a University of Saskatchewan. It felt very I felt not part of, and he made us part of, because he said, we have a few Indigenous students here in our classroom, and the majority of you are non-Indigenous, non-First Nations. But I'm going to tell you something that's going to either make you feel very uncomfortable, or it's going to make you feel that compassion of what our history is, what a dark history we had, and that we're acknowledging finally by being in this classroom. And I literally became an advocate for change. I became an advocate for learning about our past, learning about what had happened to us in the early 1800s, all the way up to the 1980s, 90s. And we're still going through that. We're still going through, the child welfare system, with the government, some of the changes that have been made.
Mm-hmm.
We are moving forward, that we're acknowledging, Canada is finally acknowledging slowly what was done to us, and taking that part in their, in the history, that they need to realize that, we're not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
We are not going anywhere. We're right here. We're still here. We are, our children, our grandchildren, our great grandchildren are, there's going to be even more. They're striving to be great lawyers. We're doctors, we're lawyers, we're artists, we're game changers. We are we're everything that we were told that we weren't going to be.
Yes.
And I'm glad that you had this podcast tonight, because it really, we need to hear more of these stories. We need to hear more of the experiences that we've gone through, and moving forward from those days in 1998 to now. I've learned so much. I've listened to so many elders, including our late mother, who spoke with love and kindness, and you begin to learn about who you are.
Yes.
You're never ashamed. We used to be ashamed back then when they told us, no, you're an Indian, And like speaking raw truth, you're an Indian. I didn't know what that meant back then. I didn't know
Mm-hmm.
it was a derogatory term that was said to me. You're just a dirty little. Why did I thought maybe because I was dirty, right? But
Yeah.
at that time, I did not know what those words meant till later on when we experienced racism, right? Not only in the
Mm-hmm.
school but in society. It has improved. We need to work more. We need to work more together. We need to be we need to come from a place of love and kindness and forgiveness. I am grateful for the lessons the stories that we've been told and shared. I'm grateful for you, Stella. This is when you talk to your guests, you come up with people like myself, women like me, like Janelle. You will come across the real and raw truth, and that's what we need to hear.
Yes.
We cannot just put it aside and it's real, it's raw. We are still healing. We are still finding out who we are. There are more children, that are now grandparents or whatnot that are still coming home. We are still coming home. We're still welcoming them home, and we're still finding out where we are and where we come from. And I think that's something that will be for a long time. And with the movements that we have, and there's many movements. We need to understand how precious time really is. Our knowledge keepers, we're losing them at an alarming rate. We need to start talking more. We need to start sharing. We
Yes.
need to be real and we need to be raw. No matter how much it's going to hurt, we're healing. Those tears are healing. Like this rain right now as I speak while I listen to there's lightning all around. I truly believe that lightning heals negativity. What's in the air, what's in the ground. It really does
Mm-hmm.
clear that, right? And so when you spoke about, oh my goodness, that was a big, huge lightning. Um, we need to just be more loving and kind, and know it's okay. All gonna be okay. We are all gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. We're gonna learn about each other. We're learning. Like I'm still learning. Like I learned so much from you and Janelle's conversation.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have ladies like you that are young, that are bringing forth all this. Like it just astounds me that I feel so grateful for your guys' input, for you sharing your experiences, your ideas. I appreciate, especially to someone that just came home. You know, it's I'm being it's quite dark out right now. I'm looking at the lightning and it stopped raining and I'm opening my window and it's just the smell of air, the fresh rain. It just grateful. I'm grateful at this moment. Today was a very beautiful day. I got to visit. I love visiting. I got to visit and hug some of our elders, some of our young people and the little ones that are coming, the next generation. You know, to me, it was a good day. We honored, we smudged, we prayed, we spoke real raw truth, and we're still here.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to end that with uh, love and respect for all, because if it weren't for people like you, people like Janelle, like Sonia, you know, I seriously feel our stories wouldn't be heard. And I'm grateful for that. So thank you, Stella, for what you do. I know it's 8:22. I think I'm in the middle of a little bit of it's just started raining and getting lightning, but I want to end this Bless
Mhm.
you for all that you continue to do to share the stories of those that are on your podcast. Thank you for allowing me to be here to just to share it. I know it's kind of funny in some things, but today was I think it going good. You mean it didn't just happen just because it happened because it needed to be here.
Yes.
And you are amazing, my dear. You are amazing. Keep striving to have your amazing podcast. You, my gosh, you are a growing girl. You know, and for your and you adopt me as your auntie as Auntie Laurel, which I think is so awesome because I really truly feel honored that way. I take that role very seriously. So I'll always be Auntie Laurel, I'll always be there. And you know me with you.
Yes.
When you call me, I tell you like it is, right? I'm not going to be, just like, well, what are you going to do next? Well, where did that
Mhm.
serve? What can you do better? Those are always going to be words that I'll say always to my nieces and my
Yes.
nephews that call me auntie. But
Uh,
what would you like to say as an ending to this
oh,
podcast?
actually, I usually ask the guest of honor, what is their one piece of advice? Given that I've already asked you that in our pilot episode, I thought I'd ask. I thought I'd ask a different question, and it wouldn't just be for our guest of honor. Would be for myself as well, and for those tuning into the episode. Um, and I was given this note card, which I will read the question off of. Was given during one of my school counseling sessions. And my counselor, she had this big box of these cards that have motivational and reflective questions. What is the one thing I'd like others to remember about me at the end of my life? And that is for myself, and that is for our guest of honor at Laurel, and that is for everyone who is tuning in. That is the question of this evening.
What you would like to be remembered for? Hmm, That's very easy. I remember I think I've answered that in different times of my life, but for this moment at this time on this where I'm at, sitting on the side of a highway, and it turned off and watching the beautiful lightning all around me and the rain. It stopped now. Is I never gave up.
Mm-hmm.
Don't give up. It might be a bad day, but it's not a bad life. And I've heard that many times throughout the last couple of years is don't give up. Keep striving to find you. Heal. It's okay to be you. It's okay. Even if you're not okay, it's okay not to be okay. You're worthy beyond measure. That's something that my late daughter Alicia used to say. You're worthy beyond measure. And I say this tonight to all the listeners out there and the watchers and the viewers. Don't give up. There's always a better day. It's not a bad life. You will get through whatever it is you're getting through. Reach out to those that you need to talk to. Reach out to someone. Maybe you don't want to talk to your family. Talk to somebody. There's
Yes.
always someone wanting to help. And I've done my share of helping out there. And I'm getting a little older, but I know I have a little guy that depends on me, and I think about those times. What would I say to my little self? And this is what I think of me. What do I say to my little self? You're going to be okay. It's not a bad life. Don't give up. You're worthy beyond measure. And that is what I live daily, on a daily, every day. I may be tired most times. My house may not be clean. It might be messy as we speak. It's cluttered. Um, I might have a dog that's ripping up a part my yard with, whatever reason, right? My lawnmower might not be working and it's screwed up and my quad is not starting. You know, that's just life. Those are just minuscule things that can be fixed another day, but when it comes to
Mhm.
the end of the day, I look at who's around me. Material things are just material things.
Yes.
It's the people that are in your life. It's the people that are they're there for you, that you speak to, that reach out and say, "Hey, how's it going?" That actually care about your day. It's those people that are fighting to keep to bring our kids home. It's the social workers, it's the lawyers, it's the leaders that have to travel long ways, and oftentimes we travel through storms. That's who we are as a people. We travel no matter what because we
Yes.
say we're going to be there, we're going to be there. That's who we are. We're resilient, we're strong, we are not going anywhere. We are healing, we're moving forward in a new way where we're acknowledging our past, our atrocities, our everything that nobody wants to talk about. We're talking about it now,
Mhm.
and we did not give up. Our ancestors did not give up. Our grandparents or our parents did not give up. And today, as I sit here and you're sitting there, Stella, we didn't give up. We're still here. And we could, if a young listener is listening, don't give up because there's a whole bunch of ancestors up there that are watching over us, that are walking right beside me, beside you, beside them, and for the next generations that are coming. We got to keep on trying and we can't give up because there's a lot to live for. We live in a beautiful world. We need to focus on the beauty of it no matter what. And you're worthy beyond measure. With that, I hope all of you that are listening, if you're traveling, I hope you get safely to your home fires. I hope that and pray that you are safe and warm wherever you are tonight, and know that there's someone rooting for you. With that, I'll leave that. Thank you for allowing me to be on your show, Stella. I wish
Yes.
you nothing but a love and respect and much success in your podcast. And thank you for
Uh,
allowing me. And to Janelle, I know, Janelle, thank you for. I'm sorry I pushed you right on the put you right on the spot. I was while she was talking, I was loading up my equipment, my sound equipment, my speakers into the truck, right? So that's why I gave her. Just here, you just the person you talk to. We're like that. We're buddies that way.
yes.
I don't think I'd ever want to be. I don't want to be to have this real set of rules where you have everything. This is what you got to say. No, we are women. We just say it like it is. Here you go.
Yes.
We're parents. She has young ones to get home to. I'm a grandma. I have a brother that just left my place. Like I lost out on my visit, but I'll visit him. I have a grandson at home. He's got to go to school in the morning. Got to get home. Got lots of cleaning up to do. But I think a good hot cup of tea would be ideal when I get home, and just smudge and give thanks for today. Give thanks for today,
Yes.
and grateful that Creator has gifted us this day. And with that, Stella, thank you, bless you, and all that you do, and don't give up. Okay, you have a good night.
All right. You too. Good night.
Okay, good night, Stella. Bye bye.